YouTube, welcome to the top 8 grand finale and the top deck list of the Meta Weekly every single week. By watching as long as you can, even if you have us on in the background, that greatly supports the videos to boost us up in the algorithm. And with that said, Hajime.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
Set 3 pass. We got Welcome Labyrinth, which could Ariana, grab a Chandelier, Torby, discard the transaction rollback, then copy a trap in the graveyard. We got the Skill Drain to full negate the field within this top 8 mate as the Ice Dragon Prison. This is a really good card in Duel Links right now. Gia's using it in her Unchained deck because the effect to banish a monster from both players' fields, it's non-target. In Duel Links right now, there's a bunch of targeting protection monsters, and this is one of the good ways to deal with that targeting protection with that non-target banish, also disrupting their grave. And speaking of non-target, in a targeting protection deck, this is Voiceless Voice, which has targeting protection through the barrier. You have Albion on summon, which is going to get banished as the Dragonized Prison steals the Saphira, banishing the Albion and the Saphira, as the Albion Dragon is still forced to fuse with the Magna Hut and Albaz in graveyard to come forth and summon a Titanclad. With the Titanclad, we are going to be unaffected from extra deck monsters. The low is activating to set up a card into the back row. Now, had we had a Trias, Trias could have chain tributed low to dodge the skill drain, as we would then be able to set up something like a Radiance, which could pop the skill drain. Voiceless Voice does have an out to the skill drain, but looks like we don't have it at the moment. Let's get swinging. Simple damage here. Welcome Labyrinth, welcoming our Torby onto the field. Now, Imperm in the column of skill drain. Can this even be activated? No. You can't try to negate the effects of a monster that's already negated by skill drain. Thus, we're never going to be able to negate the column of the skill drain. So we're just coping. Set up the... So in fact, this is possibly... super small percent actually a mistake. We are going to big Welcome Labyrinth, summon a Butler, returning it back to our hand here, trigger the Torby, trigger the Welcome. Torby's going to be summoning itself onto the field as the Welcome Labyrinth sets itself into the back row to be usable during the next turn. Now the Butler could discard itself to then set up the Welcome Labyrinth to make that newly set card activatable, as we then Torby into Typhon. Typhon is here. We can't summon for the rest of the turn. Typhon at 2,900, wiping out that low. It is, of course, negated, so 3,000 attack or more is definitely activatable. You have Diviner, which is not even activating on summon because it is, of course, negated. We now have Chaos Angel, which is simply just a 3,500 attack beat stick. We're going to Ash, negate that Welcome Labyrinth mate. We're going to chain Arius, summon itself onto the field, which Arius Butler is unaffected from skill drain. She tributes herself for the activation to set a trap or summon a fiend from the hand. We're going to transaction rollback though, copying the effect of the big Welcome, summoning a lovely Labyrinth onto the field, returning back. We're now, this is insanity. We are copying a big Welcome to summon a negated lovely, then using that big Welcome we copy to a transaction rollback to banish itself to then return back the lovely on its activation to pop a card in the field or in the hand, and it dodges the skill drain, so we're no longer negated. Very well done. And now we could destroy the Chaos Angel, attempting to take out the Typhon, as we did. We're now going to Butler, resummon the lovely back on the field. Wow. That's a scooper. We scooping. Nicely done for Labyrinth. Some cool tricks under skill drain there. Diviner on summon, Imperm, and it works out. There was no Trias in the hand. If there was a Sarvis, the Sarvis would be negating the Imperm anyway. And there you go. It worked out. We also don't have a way to tribute off the Diviner. We're now going to Pot of P it up, banishing into an Ash Blossom. Negate. So we can now follow up Ariana. Ariana is going to be making our big plays here as we grab from our deck whatever we want, which will be our big Welcome Labyrinth. To battle we go, big enough to take out that Diviner, which will only trigger if sent to the grave by being tributed. We now have the Dogmatic Punishment, which could pop 2 cards in the field, flip the whole field face down, pop a card from the hand with the big Welcome or on field. We have the pre-prep searching for 2 cards. That is our +1. Now the Diviner will be protected from the Dogmatic punishment by using the Sarvis that we just searched. It's public knowledge. I showed you. I have this. Well, you know, you got to use the Dogmatic punishments at some time. As Diviner now sends from the deck our Trias. With the Trias, we will try to tribute the Diviner, as we will successfully do, to then get Max Seed, which will trigger the Diviner to summon a low from the deck, which is a draw 2 thanks to that Max C. Pot agreed. Are we willing to go all the way? I mean, we should, because low is going to be plussing a card for us anyway, so it is definitely worth it for them to at least draw for that. Big welcome, summoning Lovely before the activation of the barrier, returning back Ariana to then trigger the Lovely to get poppin', wiping out that barrier. As we now further Shokan into a Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel on summon will banish a card on the field, taking out Lovely from the game, 3,500 to the face. We could follow up with the Blessing, blessing the barrier back to our hand, and then activate Blessing, I should say the barrier, as if it were never even destroyed. Barrier, come to us, the Radiance of the Voiceless Voice. Let's set that up. Now, with the Radiance of the Voiceless, we're going to be able to target cards up to the amount of rituals we control, which are going to be none, so that's not going to be a good play, but the more important play will be able to summon a Voiceless Voice monster from the deck. So it could be a Sarvis, it could be a Low. Let's see what we do. We're going to Ariana into the Radiance. So we're going to get Shuffling to summon from the deck a Voiceless monster, and let's see what happens from here. Return Sarvis, summon the non-ritual Sarvis. If you activate any effect, the Sarvis on field will chain its effect to summon from the deck a ritual monster, and that ritual monster could be the Skull Guardian or Sarvis ritual. Yep. Return. We're going to now Super Poly, discard fusing with the field to make a Mood Dragon. Now the Mood Dragon can make all of our monsters completely untargetable, but we have to activate it first. So are we going to call Light with this? Yes, we are. So Light monsters cannot be targeted. Diviner's completely protected. Send the Elder Entity Entis to attempt to pop the Daruma. Daruma's going to flip the field face down, but if any monster was summoned on the previous turn, we just flip it right back up. That's exactly what we do. We're going to Mood Dragon, call Light, then flip back up the Sarvis. We're going to use the Blessing to bless the Low back in our hand, as we then use Barrier to add a Skull Guardian from our deck to our hand, as we Shokan into a Dynamundo, which will on-summon, return back the Sarvis to spin a card on the field. Back into the deck you go, as we are targeting what? It is a Shuffle both. Target one card in the field and one ritual monster in your graveyard. What did we target? Oh, we were targeting the Call by the Grave. So we're going to be using the Call by the Grave to get Fingering. Finger the in-grave Sarvis so it does not get shuffled back into the deck, as we summon our Lady onto the field, ready to be chained in response to a trap card on the field. As we now have Skull Guardian ready to negate once we have Low hitting the field. Skull Guardian activating to search our deck as the Daruma Cannon. Before the Skull Guardian can negate, we're going to flip it down, mate. And also the Daruma is going to be sending the Dynamundo to the grave. We're going to be chaining our Radiance. Radiance is going to get popping. Now, what happens here exactly? The Radiance states that we are going to target cards your opponent controls up to the number of Light Rituals, so we're targeting one. Destroy both this card and as many of the targeted cards as possible. Well, if it gets returned back to the hand through the Big Welcome Labyrinth, we're not going to pop that Daruma. So let's now resolve this quite complicated 6-chain link chain. Turn back, no effect, Lady set from the deck, Daruma, flip down the Skull Guardian, send the Dynamundo to the graveyard, and the Low is going to get reborning as the Skull Guardian searches for a Saphira, which we could very easily just summon another copy of the Skull Guardian. So Saphira, discard, send the ritual spell, search for another copy of the Skull Guardian, and then let's ritual summon it onto the field through the effect of the Saphira, tributing off the other Skull Guardian that we already have in the field. And now we have established a negate. We could negate that other activatable Daruma Cannon, which would be the third one. That's enough to scoop it. Damn. Damn. Mind you, I messed up game 1 and 2. They were out of order. So even though we had Labyrinth lose win game 2, or win, it just got mixed up. So game 3, Rentos is choosing to go first. All right, that's all you need to know. We're going to activate our ritual spell, tributing off the Low to come forth and summon for the full cost of the ritual summon our Skull Guardian. Triggering the Low, triggering the Skull Guardian. Low's going to reborn and then set up a continuous spell trap, but then gets bestialed. This is absolutely devastating. The Bystials are so harmful to a voiceless voice deck if they lose the low from the graveyard, but luckily enough, the Skull Guardian searches for a second copy to then set up the barrier to search for a Radiance. Now let's talk about our disruptions. We have Ash negate an interaction with the deck mate. We do have barrier protecting our monsters from being targeted by card effects, and you can't attack into the low. The Skull Guardian will negate anything. The Imperm will negate a monster, and the Radiance will pop up to 1 card on the field. That's about 4 disruptions Labyrinth will have to play through with a dead Nibiru. Let's go. We have Ariana into the Imperm negate. That is unfortunate. Now, there's a cool interaction with this where as the Ariana's getting impermed, if in hand you have, let's say, a big welcome and a furniture card, you chain the furniture card to discard the big welcome, then you chain the big welcome to then return the Ariana on field back to the hand, thus dodging the impermanence all within the same chain. But of course, we were not that lucky, and the furniture cards are semi-limited in Master Duel. As we pop a Welcome Labyrinth in the back row to then make our Chaos Angel on summon, banish a card if we wanted to. We chose to not do so because we are affected by monster effects. We didn't want to be negated and destroyed, but the problem is, how do we deal with an indestructible by battle Chaos Angel? We're big enough to swing into it, but it don't die. We're going to use Barrier, searching our deck for a Saphira. We're going to discard to then search our deck for a Ritual Monster as we send a Ritual spell from the deck to the grave. As we then banish the Saphira to come forth and summon into a second copy of our Skull Guardian, which will on summon activate to search our deck. As the low also reborns from the graveyard, giving us enough bodies on field to make something like a Dynamundo. Dynamundo can easily deal with the Chaos Angel as it will be affected by card effects. And that's exactly what we're doing. Dynamundo on summon. Spin back Skull Guardian. Attempt to get negated by the Impermanence. Since it's not a light monster, it is targetable. So we're going to use the Skull Guardian to negate the Impermanence mate. Turn back. Goodbye to Chaos Angel. We still have that Welcome Labyrinth activatable. We have to be careful about Nibiru as we're already on 4 summons. You gotta stop summoning. Stop summoning we do as we declare an attack with the non-ritual Sarvis. 8,900 damage on the field. That is so much damage thanks to the boost effect of the Skull Guardian. Thus, right before the 5th summon for the Nibiru to be coming crashing down onto that field, tributing everything that is face up, we have lethal damage with Voiceless. Incredible match to both of you. Thank you. Let's keep on going. What is this? Mannadium versus Rescue Ace. Ain't no way. Pot of Pee, digging deep. Banish 6 off of our extra deck. Look at those Change of Hearts. We got 2 of them. We're going to be grabbing a Call by the Grave. Normal summon the Hydrant into our Linkuriboh, using the Preventer to banish from the grave our Hydrant. To then get the Preventer in the grave to then reborn our Banish Hydrants. Let's get to it. Little Knight is here to protect us from the Impermanence. How does this work? Well, this is pretty interesting. You would chain Little Knight to dodge the Imperm, but you chain Ogre to the Little Knight trying to dodge the Imperm, thus the Little Knight dies to Ogre, so the effect does not banish, and then the Imperm does negate. Let's do it, mate. No, we have Linkuriboh because you did not imperm the Turbulence. We had the counter to the Little Knight. Jesus. Imperm Turbulence, chain Little Knight, chain Ogre. Turbulence is now negated. But as exciting as that would be, they do have a finger. An unused finger was ready to finger that Ogre. It was going to happen as much as I really wanted to see that play. Yeah, I would have been stopped anyway. So this is fine, but we learn, that hidden Linkuriboh, remember, banning the TCG, dodging that Imperm for free. Come forth and making our Apollo USA. TCG was right about the Linkuriboh. So within the back row, we have triple disruption plus 3 on the Apollo plus an Ash in our hand. We have 7 disruptions to play through with our 5-card hand. Now the Ogre can completely stop the Apollo, but the finger will finger the Ogre. Yeah, I'm out of here. No thank you. Not cool. Yep. So, I mean, Willip understands that will not happen again. And let's hop into game 2. Rykart is here. Come to us, a rival, as there is no disruption whatsoever from Fox. But we do have a board breaker through Triple Tactics talent. But Triple Tactics talent should not, theoretically, it shouldn't be good against Rescue Ace. Negate anything, plus Dissipator will destroy a monster, Little Knight will banish a monster, and then, we have Droll and Lockbird, so it's about 4 to 5 disruptions here. I'll just call it 4. I don't think we should call Droll an actual disruption. Maxi, let's see. Poplar, activate, original Sinful Mates. We did not Droll because it would Droll our own Maxi. Makes sense. As we then make Link Karibo. Poplar, trigger, equip itself in the back row. We are desperately flailing our arms, trying to beg and plead with our opponent. Activate a monster effect in the main phase. Otherwise, I can't use Triple Tactics talent. So what can we do to bait out something? It has to be a monster effect. If they activate Reframing, the Triple Tactics talent will not be activatable. Summon. We're under Max C. This is fine. There you go. Finally. The Triple Tactics talent is now going to light up in the hand, be activatable to take control of a monster, and the Reframing will negate the activation. Thus, if we have another copy of Triple Tactics talent, we could use Pot of P, dig for another copy of the Triple Tactics talent, and it will be activatable. Reframing does negate the activation, yes. Negate the activation, so another copy of the Pot of P, that would be a play. Now, the problem with the Dissipator, it's only a monster negate if the opponent has a banished card, which they do not. So we're going to chain Little Knight, chain banish, banishing our Baron de Flor in the opposing Turbulence, and of course does not negate the effect. As we now could set up all of our back row cards, the Quadra back row set essentially turns into a triple disruption. Let's Pot of P, digging just 3 cards deep. Change of heart. Interesting. Would changing the heart of Pater and then reborning a banished monster be a play? We are instead making a Typhon. Typhon gonna spin back that Dissipator as the Ghost Ogre is not negating but will be destroying the Typhon. Typhon with back row is actually pretty damn good. But unfortunately for you, goodbye to the Dissipator. And just like this, we do have our triple disruption. Now, one of the downsides of Baron de Flor is once while face up, it could negate. It was no longer face up, so its Omni Negate has just been reset. We're going to be chaining Maxi to the rescue, attempting to reborn a Hydrant from the graveyard. As it successfully does so. Reborn the Hydrant, giving us additional abilities in the back row. We have our triple disruption. That's it. Baron de Flor, negate the Maxi. Contain to negate the negate on the Baron de Flor. Little Knight to dodge the negate onto the Baron de Flor. Emergency is going to... What are we doing here exactly? We want to contain the Baron de Flor, but we want the Baron de Flor to dodge the contain. So if the Little Knight is not able to, on resolution, attempt to banish the Turbulence, then our Baron de Flor stays on the field and gets contained by the contain. And so we're going to use the emergency to have the Turbulence dodge the banish. So she will get contained. Summon, dodge Little Knight, you are now contained. Thus negated, thus the Maxi resolves. Now what? We're going to reinforce our hand, come to us, Rhymeheart. We have not committed to our normal summon yet, we just entered the main phase. Reimaginings plus chain the Droplet to negate the Preventer from flipping a card in the field face down. Makes sense. And the only other form of disruption we have left is now a single Extinguish, but we will be drawing into hand traps, possibly per special summon. We're going to alert. Ooh, we could grab an Impulse, and which could summon a Preventer from the deck. So we have 1 to 2 disruptions still. While this Preventer is negated, this Impulse will summon another one. Droll has just turned off the ability for both players to add cards from the deck to the hand, thus Maxi has been turned off. We have the Extinguish being activated to get Extinguishing. we are extinguishing what? The ball. Now, by extinguishing the ball wants to be destroyed, but the extinguish has an additional effect. The monster we destroy cannot activate the effects of that destroyed monster with that same name for the rest of the turn, So Meek, the ball has been turned off. Now we still have the impulse into a preventer to flip a card in the field face down, activate Astral Loud, chain impulse, summon a preventer from the deck. Now, why didn't we target the hydrant? The hydrant is negated, and we summon a fire engine here instead of the preventer directly. We have Samsara on the special summon, which will trigger the fire engine to summon from the deck or from the graveyard here, our airlifter. As we now Crimson Dragon. Crimson Dragon, target the Baron to floor, come forth and make our Dissipator mate. So what happened to the other preventer? Did we run out of copies of Preventer? We just didn't want to summon a Preventer? I think we would have been screwed either way. Excel, Synchro, Stardust Dragonon, summon Reborn, our ball from the graveyard. It can't activate, but it could still be reborn from the grave as we then make a Chang Ying. Chang Ying is waiting to witness a card to be banished. As soon as a card's banished, the Chang Ying will non-target banish a card on the field and in the graveyard. Dissipator is going to be negating the effect of that Link Karibo. I don't think so. Returning one of the extra deck monsters back into the extra deck you go. Goodbye to the airlifter, 16 to the face. Now, the once while face-up Baron to floor negate has already been activated. So this is no good, but the Chang Ying is now triggerable. Did we want to, we did not want to, off of the emergency banishing itself to activate the Chang Ying. The contain cannot contain the Chang Ying because it is only activatable if you control a rescue ace. So we could have banished the field spell if we wanted. Additional summon the impulse. As we drop the lit, send the field spell, negating the impulse. Question mark, question mark, question mark? Yeah, right? And I'm correct on thinking that something weird happened there, not wanting to use the Chang Ying unless we're just saving it. As we are now going to be adding a hydrant from the deck through the effect of the original Sinful. Dissipator will not be destroying, but we will be negating. We're going to use the contain to negate the Dissipator from negating our hydrant, and we're going to use the Little Knight to reset our Baron to floor to come back in the end phase, and also Dissipator dodge the contain. Thus, we will negate, but not destroy the hydrant. Now what? Now the Chang Ying's going to non-target monster banish, or any card in the field that is. As we send the field spell to summon our Diablo Star for our final play, Original Sinful has already been used. Thus we grab a Dead Wanted Seeker. Let's link to this up into a Dark Reborn, a Dark monster from the graveyard. What is great from there? Nothing, as we grab a right card. As we further Shokan into a Promethean Princess. Promethean is going to be reborning the Airlifter. Airlifter, it will be triggering, grabbing an alert. We are actually cooking. Ain't no way. Grab a Turbulence from the graveyard. I cannot freaking believe this. Come forth and banish. As we then Shokan into a Salamangreat, Raging Phoenix, further Shokaning into a Zealantis. I don't know what to tell you. If we read the Chang Ying right here, not only is it 4,100, reducing the opposing field per banished card, it says that this card cannot be destroyed by card effect because you could banish a card from your graveyard instead. So how do we deal with the Chang Ying? Very easily. This is game. I don't know what to say beyond that. Come forth and summon Zealantis, summoning Turbulence. We summon it face down. Thus, it's not protected from being destroyed by card effect through the effect of the Zealantis or the Promethean Princess. Take out the Chang Ying, reborn Promethean, trigger the Raging Phoenix, and that is 11,000 damage direct attack because the Zealantis can non-target destroy up to 2 cards on the freaking field. Damn. 2-0. That was something. Holy moly. Let's start this off with a Max C versus Ash Blossom negate. I don't think so, mate. By activating that Max C within the draw phase, it ensures that you are now not going to be able to activate that Triple Tactics talent for free. But after 5 summons, that big fat Nibiru is coming. Let's speed it up for that moment. Got the Poplar on 1, Link Karibo on 2. Equip itself into the back row. Original Sinful, send the Poplar, summon the Ash. Ash is 3, grabbing the Oak here. Normal summon the Oceanics, get poppin', grab the Ponix. Ponix special summon, just like that, we are on 5. If we do not Nibiru right now, we could, if we want to, summon a 4 material Apollo USA, which would be able to negate the Nibiru. But is it likely that's exactly what they're going into? Probably not, but we're going to Nibiru anyway. Tribute off everything. Thus now the triple tactics talent is activatable. We already used up our normal summon. We're going to draw 2 in desperation. What did we need? We needed a fire monster. It could have been an Ash Blossom. We wanted a Sanctuary into Fire King Island, pop the fire monster, search Garunix, summon Garunix, pop from the deck, reborn, and get, we had plays. This Veiler needed to be an Ash Blossom, something, any fire. To battle we go before we are not able to battle due to our battle phase being skipped. Hard opening the field spell, that is nutty. We're gonna grab a Destruction, banishing the one of Flameburge off the top of the deck. Goodbye to you, as we now get Huggin. Huggin is here as we trigger our field spell to return to draw 2. Further Shokaning into a Little Knight. We're gonna hold on to that Destruction for something better like that Sanctuary, as the Finger now fingers our Max C. We don't care. We're gonna chain Runic Smiting Storm to banish 1. Banish 1 Arvata. Your 1 of Arvata just got banished. Ain't no way. Lubellion is going to be sending itself to grab a Magna Hut. Magna Hut banishing the opposing Link Karibo. Activate Magna Hut to then tribute it off for Lubellion. Lubellion is attempting to set up for a regained. We're going to use the Little Knight to chain banish. Now, why did we Veiler early? We had to, because otherwise the Little Knight would chain in response to the Veiler and the Lubellion would trigger, well, not trigger, but it would resolve to set up the regained, dodging that Veiler. So this was correct, a good use. And by banishing the Little Knight, it frees up the extra monster zone to now use our runic spells to summon another runic into the extra monster zone. Original Sinful, return the Poplar to then grab from the deck. We're going to be triggering the Poplar to summon and then just say, what the hell are we doing? Our Vata is banished. Our Flameburge is banished. A lot of our key cards are gone from the deck for good. Wow. Just randomly banish their most important cards and you win. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 disruption. No, 7 disruption without counting the Call by the Grave. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's do it. Onyx, sure. So it's 7. Let's see what's good. Finger the Lubellion, which I wasn't counting the Call by the Grave as a disruption. It's too conditional, I think, to really consider it as such. We're going to Drew a Swarm. Dodge the Finger by banishing the Lubellion. We're going to Arvata, negate the dodge, but then dodge it again through a second attempt at our Bestial. And what are we doing here? This is a chain link block for an Ash Blossom or a direct negate on the Huggin that wants to search for a field spell. You may be thinking like, bro, what? Chain link 6, we're talking about Huggin? Yeah, the Magna Hut's going to be chain link 2, the Huggin will be chain link 1. It's a small detail, but you really need to learn it if you want to play this deck. The Magna Hut, the Quem, they will protect your Huggin. Huggin will hug the Magna Hut or hug the Quem, thus not getting negated. Come forth and summon. Banish, we dodged it, so we will be searching our deck for a Bestial here. Fingering nothing, it's been successfully dodged. Grab the Serenir as the Huggin now discards and the Magna Hut blocks it. There you go. There's no Ash anyway. We have Flameburst triggering, and we're going to Imperm, negate that Huggin. Cool trick, mate, but it don't matter because you are still not searching that field spell. Flameburst, Reborn 2, level 1 fires. Oak trigger, Poplar trigger for a follow-up. Oak will actually be reborning to then search for a follow-up. Serenir sending from the deck here a branded spell / trap. Ash is going to be the target to add back instead of summon, sending the Lubellion from the deck instead of a Branded Spell or Trap, as we then make a Little Knight, banishing that Fire King Island, which will then activate to wipe out the entire field of opposing monsters. We're going to use the Slumber to protect the Little Knight from being destroyed by the Promethean Princess. Randomly banishing off the top of the deck. Come forth and summon. Fire King Island. Activate. Wipe the field. Poplar is going to be triggering to equip itself first, and then we get full field wiping. Now, the Amblebale being wiped will reborn the Masquerena back in the field. The Garunix will trigger to summon itself onto the field. The Little Knight on field has not yet activated its second effect for a double banish. So going forth, Masquerena, Garunix will pop a Kieran from the deck. That's going to be a situation where this is our last opportunity to activate the Little Knight. Otherwise, the Little Knight will be destroyed by a non-targeting destruction of the Kieran. So let's do it. Targeting the Garunix. We're going to chain the Ponix. It is a trigger, not just a quick effect chain here, but it is the same priority of a quick effect chain. Goodbye Garunix temporarily. As we reborn the Arvata for a monster negate, ready to negate that Nibiru mate, but the Arvata had already activated, thus no negate on that Nibiru. We're going to be tributing off for our Druiswarm. It's like, whose turn is it? What is going on? The Snake Eye Fire King making more plays on our own turn as we have finally set up our Regained. Grabbing a Baldrake during the end phase of the Magna Hut to trigger our Regain by banishing our Nibiru. Let's get our draw one, hopefully into a very good card here. We've got the Curses. We're going to use the Curses to special summon the Sleipnir, which will only be activated during your opponent's battle phase. Otherwise, if the opponent adds a card to the hand, it's just going to summon a token. Otherwise, not a foreign disruption, but you did just trigger my Promethean Princess. Come forth and summon, which will trigger the Amblo Whale. Amblo Whale will get popping here. Non-target pop a card in the field as the Baldrake is going to be attempting to banish the Promethean Princess. As the Regained also triggers to reborn the Druiswarm from the graveyard after we tribute off our token for the effect of the Baldrake. Goodbye to Promethean Princess for good. And also goodbye to Branded Regain through the effect of the Amblo Whale off of a Link 3 or lower being destroyed. We now have Diablo Star, send a card to come forth and summon. We're going to be triggering the Poplar to equip itself in the back row as the Diablo Star searches and sets on the deck a non-activatable Wanted Seeker. Normal Ash, no activate of the Ash to search as we make a Link Rebo to then make a Dark with our Diablo Star. We're going to be reborning the Engrave Magna Hut, activating it to search for a dragon during our own end phase. As we now get Prometheus. I thought you were gone from the game. Excuse me, that's your second freaking copy? Judge? We're going to Flameburge from the graveyard, be reborn through the effect of the Promethean as we push the Druiswarm into the back row as we now get Raging into a Phoenix. Yeah, we scooping. Why we scooping? Flameburge trigger, reborn 2 level 1s. All you need for 11,000 damage, popping 3 cards on the field. Now, the Promethean actually was not going to trigger because we already did it this turn, right? I can't see it in the duel log, but didn't we Promethean in the standby phase? The draw phase, standby? We already triggered Promethean. So did we have a way? We did through. We could have made a Phoenix, the red, the Fire Phoenix, the Link 2 Phoenix, and then within the battle phase we could get pop and trigger the Raging Phoenix. But still, I think we maybe should have just let it play out there. 1 in 1. Let's go. Get ready for an insane duel. Bro, what? What are you talking about? This ain't going to be insane. Now, we are within main phase, so the Veiler is going to be used onto the Huggin, but we do chain link block the Ash Blossom, so you do have to consider. Ash is way more played, so it is more important and better to play around in Ash Blossom instead. You can't play around Imperm because it's usable in the draw phase or main phase. So there's Chain Link Block because the Quem reborns, but then we use Veiler Negate or Imperm Negates. Either or is fine. Veiler probably better to be negating with because we could use Imperm on our own turn instead. Reborn that Cartesia, all under Max C, by the way. What the heck is going on? Tri-Edge Master on summon, activate to draw a card into our 3rd copy of Max C. Now we have Baron to Floor to negate the Ash, negating the Max C as the Cartesia adds back during the end phase. So this is going to be big. an option could be within the draw or standby, activate Maxi. They try to negate the Maxi. You then negate the negate, then Baron to floor, jump off the field, reborn a monster from the graveyard since the negate's already been used. Otherwise, we're going to be waiting. 1-for-1, chain that Maxi. Ash Blossom, negate the Maxi. Baron to floor, negate. The negate negating the Maxi. Negate. As the Maxi now goes through, non-stop DC. Are you a Chad or a Virgin? This is it. Will you take the Maxi challenge? Find out right now. Let's go. Barking Island, draw per special summon. Will we attempt a one-turn kill? And what could stop us? Well, randomly drawn Bystials, which we have none at the moment to special summon. Oh boy. Grab Garun. Garunix gets large and in charge if we trigger with... Okay, never mind. We ain't taking that challenge, mate. Nope, we pass it. Bystial Lubellion, discard grabbing a Bystial Magna Hunt. Baron to floor, get popping. Skyburn, gonna pop the popper. Get that Baron to floor out of here. Now, we are in the main phase where Valor is activatable to negate our hug and search for the field spell. Garunix will be triggering as we back-to-back Maxi. We did have 3 in our hand, so we will be drawn per special summon, which we're attempting to special summon again after the Garunix pops in the deck. Do we activate the special summon? Nope, we choose to not do so. Now, this will activate, right? If this card was destroyed, special summon it during the standby phase to destroy all other monsters on the field. Will we even remember that happening as we set up our field? You Maxied me, I Maxi you. It's only fair. We're going to chain Magna Hunt to banish our Tri-Edge before the Maxi resolves. Come forth and summon. Now, we are under the effect of Runix skipping our battle phase, so don't think we have any battle phase shenanigans here, as that Garunix at 40-50 attack. How long do we have a boost? The boost is only until the end of this turn. Valor negating that Huggin as we attempted the Chainlink block negate, which we did successfully, but we have Cartesia. So Cartesia plays around Impermanent Valor. The Magna Hut or Quem plays around the Ash Blossom. It's all about getting access to that Runic Fountain, which we perfectly did. Very well done. But it is under Maxi, so how much are we willing to actually do without having a battle phase? Grand Grunal triggering, Quem is also triggering on summon. This is not going to be any special summons here. We're just sending from the deck, or actually back to the graveyard. The Melong. Melong, what is Melong doing? It's going to return the on-field Flameburst back to the hand. Sure. The Quem is actually reborning under Maxi, though. Are we out of our damn mind? As we now finally resolve that fountain, freezing curses, get negating, banish off the top of the deck to finally get returning. But if you continually chainlink block the Ash from stopping you from searching the field spell, it's going to just negate the field spell. But then we could try to just trigger the field spell again on the next turn. So do we have a way to draw into a runic card to be used during the opponent's turn here as we summon a Tri-Edge Master? Reborn our Bystial Lubellion, the best thing to be drawing with will be a Bystial Regained. So Branded Regained, every time a Light or Dark is banished on either player's turn, we will be drawing, ideally, into a runic card. I can't believe we're doing this much summoning under a Max C. Are you out of your damn mind? 12 cards left in the deck, though. Make sure to banish a... Okay, with the Chang Ying trigger, banish a Light or Dark to trigger the Regain. No, we did not. 12 cards left in the deck, Cartesia add back, Baldrake is here to trigger the Regained, and if we trigger our Fountain off of a newly drawn runic card, that's going to be drawing how many cards? We do have a draw 3 play for that random draw. We also have Max C to help us draw into a runic card. 11 cards left in the deck. Remember the Garunix, come forth and summon, wipe out all other monsters on the field. Now, the Chang Ying does not care about you trying to destroy it because we can banish a card from the grave instead. Now, we could optionally trigger the Chang Ying to banish the field spell on a card in the grave. We chose to not do so. Still having a card to search for from the deck, even though we only have 10 cards left now. We are chaining Maxi in response to the Kirin, which will be reborning or summoning from the hand of Fire King to the non-target pop a card in the field, which could take out the Regained or the Runic Fountain. What do we take out as the Maxi is now negated? Goodbye, Fountain, as we summon the Arvata. Grand Grenoble, because you summoned a monster through a monster effect, we're going to be triggering the effect to summon a monster from the deck or extra deck as the regained reborns the Dissipator or a monster negates. Lulu Walla Lilith is here as we trigger the Chang Ying and Chain Link block it with the regain, so the Arvata cannot negate the Chang Ying, banishing the Arvata and a card in the graveyard. And then we're going to look at the banishment pile and evaluate how screwed is Snake Eye Fire King. Turn back, drawn to Libellion, banish in the graveyard. Now, how screwed are we? We have a 1 of Arvata gone forever, 1 of Sacred Garunix gone forever, and so a bunch of big 1-ofs, and the Ash is also limited to 1, gone forever. Flameburge is not banished, though. Triple Tactics talent, take control of a monster. What are you taking control of? A Dissipator to special summon a banished monster, taking the Little Knight back onto the field to then make a Dark, okay? Dark is going to be reborning the Dissipator. Baldrake's going to say, what are you doing, mate? You ain't reborning my Dissipator. Banish it instead. Now what? We're going to follow up with the Courts here. Pop a monster from the hand, searching for another copy of the Kirin. We're going to be triggering the Poplar, equipping Ash Blossom into the back row. Summon a Diablo Star by discarding the Flameburge, which will trigger the Flameburge to reborn 2 level 1 fires from the graveyard. This duel is absolute madness. I have no idea how this is going to end. What the heck? Okay, reborn the Poplar, double Poplar in the field, further Shokan into Promethean Princess. The Lulu Walla Lilith is activating because a monster has left the extra deck. Thus, we can make all monsters you control gain 500. Then you could non-target, negate the effects of 1 face-up card in the field. Spell, trap, monster. We are negating the Promethean Princess from reborning from the grave. I mean, this is like Isolde. You negate Isolde and make another Isolde. There you go. Baldrake is going to be tributing off the Lulu Walla Lilith to then banish the on-summon Promethean Princess. We're going to Avatar Kirin, pop the Promethean from being banished to come forth and summon as we original Sinful, summon from the deck a Snake Eye Oak, which could interact with a banished monster if we want to summon the Ponix. Further Shokaning into a Sunlight Wolf, making a Link Karibo to trigger the Sunlight Wolf to add back a fire monster in grave. We got Ash Blossom now back as we further Shokan into a Little Knight. Little Knight is going to banish on some of the Chang Ying, but now we can't attack directly as we further go into an Amblo Whale. Ending our turn, just like that, come back in the end phase, our Garunix. We're going to be triggering the effect of the Promethean Princess because you, in fact, did special summon your Quem through the effect of the Wooloo Lala Lalo Lilith, as we are now going to be reborning, and we did use the effect of the Skyburn. What was the Skyburn doing? The Skyburn states that if a Fire King card would be destroyed by card effect, you could banish this card instead, so protect it from our own Promethean Princess. 7 cards left in the deck. We do have the Runic Fountain. It's gone. It's in the graveyard or it's banished. We have Chaos Angel on summon. It's got the full protection. Can't be affected by activated effects of your opponent's monsters, but it could be impermanenced. That's a big problem. We're going to be triggering the Promethean Princess first, and then imperm, negating the Chaos Angel. We're going to chain Runic Dispelling. So by summoning a Huggin, we can protect the Chaos Angel from being destroyed by card effect by using, but instead we summon a Gary. Gary could recycle the in-grave Runic Fountain that was destroyed and not banished. So goodbye Chaos Angel, come forth Promethean to then trigger the Gary on summon. Yes, there we go. We got that Runic Fountain coming back, regained, also reborning the Magna Hut from the graveyard. We have the Amblo Whale triggering to then reborn our Sunlight Wolf from the grave. Who's going to time out? This has to be a timeout victory. I think so. Turn 5 with these many actions. Magna Hut triggering to search for a dragon during the end phase. We have Ash Blossom negating, as we at the moment have no way to trigger that fountain to draw 3. If the fountain gets triggered once, then we're going to have enough juice to banish the rest of their deck. I think so. Amble Whale, non-target, pop a card in the field, not taking out the fountain, skip the battle phase because we have been activating so many runic cards. Baldrake trigger regained as we chain the Wanted Seeker. I don't think you have any idea how important this Baldrake is right now. The regained needs to draw a runic card. If we draw a runic card within the end phase, we could, within this end phase, deck out their entire deck. 7 cards left. The duel could be done right here, right now. Let's see. Okay, add back Diablo Star. Banish a Baldrake. Add with the regained. It's got to be a runic card out of 20 cards. It's a freaking runic card. Activating the droplet. Draw a card. Banish off the top of the deck. 2 cards left. Return 3 cards back to the bottom of the deck. Draw 3 cards off of this. Do we have enough? You can't activate the runic destruction because you have to banish 4 cards off the top of the deck. And the flash fire banishes exactly 2 cards off the top of the deck. Ain't no freaking way. You've seen me stream for the past 5 hours. There's no way I could pre-watch this. Holy moly. That just freaking happened. Deck out victory off of the freaking gained. Woo-wee. Poplar, and of course we're going second, so we're gonna have to wait for that. Let's speed this up. Come forth, Link Karibo, Poplar, equip itself. We could Havness, mill 3 into a fusion play, maybe. Are we planning on doing something crazy? We're just holding the Havness. Hold the Hav. No Hav. No Hav. We really do not want to Hav. We're gonna hold it. Yup. Okay. Summon. There's no way we're planning a moment to use the Havness, right? Yeah, we held it. We held it in. Big time. Big hold. Setting up the walls of the Imperial Tomb. Search our deck. You do not ash that. You ash the Imseti. This is the ash, thus the grass now goes through. What did I say? Imseti eats that ash all day as the Flamberge is going to be reborn, the back row Masquerina. We're going to chain Mudora, get that Promethean Princess out of here. Also, goodbye to Ash and Oak. So the Flamberge now, if sent to the graveyard, is still having enough to reborn. We have 2 Poplar still in grave. Ain't no way. That's wild. So let's see how big this mill will be. Almost 20 freaking cards here. We're going to chain Havness to the Masquerina to summon a mill 3. As the Masquerina goes into, we kind of whiffed our mill here, but the Celic will be searching for a tier limit monster. Maybe that could be good still. As the Little Knight on summon will be banishing a card on the field or in grave. Little Knight banish the Horus, because otherwise the Horus would trigger if you banish anything else and then send a card in the field to the graveyard. Celiac grabbing from the deck, our Rhino Heart with our open normal summon ready, but it's time to whip out the grass. Milling a ton of cards off the top of the deck here. 4, 8, 12, 13 cards with a Necroface engraved to help deck out the opponent. So Runic, Necroface is kind of like adding a Runic engine to your deck without having to deal with the Runic cards. As you're randomly banishing off the top of the deck, we have Valor being used on Kit Cow, which Valor or Imperm is the main counter to the Kit Cow. That is definitely a problem there. As we, with the Fairy Tale Snow, not making any plays within the battle phase yet, as we send a Tier Kashtira with the effect of our Rhino to then further make a Cross Sheep to now Fairy Tale Snow, banish 7 from the grave, not a Necroface, to trigger the Cross Sheep to reborn from the graveyard as the Cross Sheep now gets negated by the Impermanence. Negate. We have 12 cards left in the grave, which is all fuel for that Fairy Tale Snow to continually banish to resummon. Cross out, designate. We're getting rid of our one of Original Sinful, likely playing just one, I would think, just to negate the opposing Original Sinful as we now make an Anaconda? Huh? Anaconda is just for Curious, I think. I don't think we're summoning a Branded, no way. We're changing to Dark, all 3 Dark to Curious. What did I freaking say? Now Curious could send from the deck as we send a Rainbow Bridge. We're gonna banish the Rainbow Bridge to search our deck for a field spell, plus we're milling 3. So before we mill our Crystal Beast randomly, let's mill it after it resolves. And just now, we are going into our Yubel engine. So we're gonna pop a Spirit of Yubel from the deck to then summon a Yubel from the graveyard to then Grave Squirmer, reborn from the graveyard, Spirit of Yubel to then search our deck for a Nightmare Pain. Congratulations, you beat the tier limit version of my deck. I'm now entering phase 2, Yubel. With the King Sark, we're going to be discarding the Crystal Beast, send from the deck a Happy. I have to play this deck. This is absolutely nuts. Holy moly. Little Knight on summon. Goodbye, banishing that Flameburge from the game. We are going to now be reborning as many horse cards as we want from the graveyard. On top of that, making a Phantom of Yubel. What do we do? I don't know what we even do. If a card leaves the field that's not the Happy, Happy will add 2 cards back to the hand that's banished or in the grave, and the Dumatef will trigger to draw cards equal to the number of monsters with different names in your main monster zones. We have the original Sinful, so we do have 2 copies. We banished one as we use the other. That's good. As you grab an Oak from the deck to on-summon, reborn from the grave or banish. As the Phantom of Yubel essentially negates as we finger the Phantom of Yubel, but we do have a Fairy Tale Snow. Dodge the finger by banishing the Phantom of Yubel. Thus, you will be negating nothing. You will instead be the one to be negated. Not negated, but your effect will be changed to instead destroy a Yubel from the deck. Now, you do run the risk when you are teching Yubel into another deck that you may not have a Yubel in the deck to even destroy. Thus, the Phantom of Yubel would not even be activatable. As the Fairy Tale Snow is now on summon, trying to flip down the Snake Eye Oak. We're going to be summoning the Link Kuriboh, which could still have been summoned even with the face down Snake Eye Oak, as we are now scooping this up. That is way too much gas. And we know, if not from the other duel, we now know from duel number 1, you can't max C this deck. If you max C, you will 100% be decking out. Well, very likely, not 100. Guard Destruction, another card to help you first turn kill against something like Max C. Let's speed this up because we have no disruption in sight. Sent our Combo the Grave, and I will count the called by as a disruption against tier limit. So we have 1, pop a card. We have Garunix pop with Kieran. We have Nibiru. We have Ash Blossom. We have Arvata. We have the Promethean Princess. We have Masquerina into Little Knight. It does not look like it, but this is 9 disruptions where a lot of them are quite conditional. All right? 9 disruptions. Believe it. King Sark. And we'll count it down as we're using up those 9 disruptions, and I'll try to explain any other that we're missing. Mudora's going to delete some disruptions here. Wow, we lost 3 cards. That's 4 disruptions gone. Okay. Ash, negate. There you go. We're now down to 4 disruption. We already burned through 5. Through card destruction and Mudora. And we are now going to be activating the Sharon, discard the Snow, mill 3, trigger the Sullic, grabbing a Rhino Heart. We have not committed to a normal summon yet. Reborn our I'm Seti, summon the Rhino Heart, send from the deck a Hovness, finger that Hovness, which I was counting as part of the disruptions here. Negate. We could still make a Time Thief Redoer with the Sharon to then detach her by card effect to trigger. As we are not doing that, we're going to make a Dugaris instead to draw 2 our Reborn. We're going to Kieran, pop the Amble Whale. Amble Whale, reborn the Heat Soul, trigger Garunix. Okay, sure. So we have Kieran, Garunix, and Nibiru as our main disruption. We have Kieran pop from the deck, that is. Garunix is going to get negated as we just have, I think Nibiru is our only form of disrupt. We actually have the Amble Whale in the graveyard, kind of a hidden disruption. Nibiru tribute off the entire field. Nibiru and Amble Whale are our only other forms of disruption. So what the heck happened here? We activated Droplet, we sent a spell. Thus, we could chain a monster effect to the Droplet. So we chain Heat Soul plus Nibiru, dodge the Droplet. Thus, the Garunix is not negated, as the Garunix is going to send a Kieran by popping it, and then Kieran's going to reborn from the graveyard, non-target, pop a card on the field, and we still have Amble Whale in the grave. Yep. Droplet, which is going to be reducing the Nibiru to half its attack. As I said, Kieran get popped, Kieran reborn, pop a card on summon, and we actually did it. 9 disruptions were enough to thwart a full gas deck. I really love the idea of putting multiple cards that hard lose to Ash. So by putting them together, if one of them get ashed, then your other cards then don't get ashed. So the I'm Seti, eat the ash, then follow up with a grass or something else big that loses to ash. Card destruction. How are you not going to ash it? You have to ash it. You don't know if you're not going to draw another ash, and then they could follow up with the I'm Seti. And then also, I'm Seti is really bad against Max C. Doesn't matter because you build your deck to beat Max C because you're going to deck them out. So all these conflictions and counters to the counters, it's a beautiful deck. All right, so our terms of gas, we have Field Spell into Rhino. We have Sharon Special Mill 3. We got some potential Oak plays, but then, you know, that'd be using up the normal summon with the Rhino. We got some plays. We have Imperm. Imperm will ideally, I would say, be used on a Kick Cow. So, let's go. Sharon Mill 3 for some randomness here. Triggering the Hovness being discarded. And this is where we will Imperm the Kick Cow. Yep. Negates, mate. Now we could Field Spell Rhino, send from the deck, fuse. We could use Field Spell to pop the Kick Cow or fuse with the Kick Cow. That's going to be a situation here, and what we would want to do, we're going to, instead of using up the normal summon, we're just going to send the Field Spell with the Oak to summon an Ash from the deck. We're at 4 summons at the moment. Poplar come forth and summon. If you Nibiru with a Kick Cow on field, it's going to mill 5. Do we really want to do that? And we know that there is a Kashtira in the hand to mill an additional 3. Do you want them to mill 8? So when can we Nibiru? We'll find out. Poplar into Linkuriboh. So yeah, this negated Kick Cow providing insulation from that Nibiru. We are afraid to Nibiru now. And even more troublesome. You Nibiru this, mill 5, mill 8 total, reborn 2 level 1 fires. This is where we reluctantly are going to have to probably just use the Nibiru. Oak on summon is going to be reborning the Poplar. Anaconda changing the attribute to dark. And this, what are we accomplishing? This is a Cyberse. This is a plant. This is a Pyro. Dark, 3 different types. That's the perfect summon for Curious. And if that's the perfect summon for Curious that we had to set up with Anaconda and a Linkuriboh, we may very well have to use the Nibiru before they mill 3 plus send any card they want from the deck to the grave. Yeah. Curious is banned in the TCG. Monster negate, monster negate, monster negate, monster negate, special summon negate, omni negate, monster negates. We have a Blackout Lapse, which will turn off the ability to even summon a monster mate or activate it. We have Little Knight, and then we also have engrave a Fairy Tale Snow. We're at 10 disruption. Am I missing anything? 10 disruption is what I am counting, 10. If we have a way to get the Fairy Tale Snow back in the graveyard after it summons and flips, then that would be 11 disruption. So let's read this carefully. Declare a monster name. This turn, neither player could special summon monsters with that name. So you could, in response to the original Sinful, just activate it. If you activate Garunix to summon, it's activating to summon. I say no. Your activation to summon, I chain to it to not summon. No summon. And Max C, we just drew it for the freaking turn. Wow. Gosh. Again, perfect impermanence. Perfect Nibiru. And we still had 10 disruption after that. And again, someone may be thinking, oh, wow, he drew Maxi late. If he would have Maxied, he would have lost. He would have decked out. The deck is built to deck out against Max freaking C. Like, it would not be safe to Max C this. So it's good that he drew it late. It would actually even be better on your own turn than on their turn where they deck you the freaking out. Top 4, begin. I do want to just warn you, this deck will probably not exist after tonight, tomorrow, or the day after. The ban list, not because of this deck, but the deck is using all the broken decks together that are all going to get hit by the ban list. There's no way this will be playable. We are setting up the Chainlink block for the Huggin. Huggin's going to hug the Quem, thus you are protected from an Ash Blossom. We're going to send the Golden Sword Soul, as we are also going to be reborning it with the Quem. And let's speed this up since there's no disruption anyway. Grab the... Wait, people are coping that the decks are going to get hit? You really don't think that Yubel and Snake Eye Fire King are not getting hit on the next ban list this week, in a few days, or tonight? It's happening. Turn 3, draw 3. The hits may be little. They may just be a small hit on Kieran and Spirit Gates, which I don't think Scar even plays Spirit Gates. So the Yubel part of Scar's deck may not even be touched. Reborn the Quem. I think it's too early for them to hit Phantom of Yubel, but down the line, in a later ban list, sometime in history, it will... I think Phantom of Yubel will get hit, but not now. Legacia, draw a card. Yup, thank you very much. Baron to floor, get poppin', get another runic card into the graveyard. Little Knight, banish a light or dark, trigger regain, return it back, draw a card. Oh my Jesus. And let's go. Let's set this up. Baldrake Disruption, Baron to floor. You know, even the Bistils just inherently are good against Tearlament. We have the Nightmare Throne. In response to that, we're going to be banishing one card off the top of the deck to trigger our field spell. Goodbye to our 1 of Subversion to now draw 2 cards. Yep. Return 2 Smiting Storms. That's why we use the Baron to floor to pop one of them. Wow. 3 different Bistils. We have the Regain triggering off of the opponent's summoning to reborn a Bestial Dispater. Regained also triggering off of the Huggin being banished to return it back to then draw a card. The Golden Sword Soul is triggering to summon a Cartesia onto the fields. Damn, this is crazy. All 3 Cartesias are here. We're going to fuse with Cartesia from the hand and on field into the Grand Granule. Send a card to the graveyard. Now long, return the D-Lotus. Back to the hand you go. Get out of here. There goes your normal summon. I'm SETI, discard a card. Negated. How much more gas do we have? We got more gas. So the Yubel line, negated. The Horus line, negated. Well, is it? Because we're going to Forbidden Droplet, negate you from negating our Horus line. We still have our plays. Our hand is full Yubel play, full Horus play, and full Snake Eye. All 3. We just don't have Tearlament. That's all that we're missing. But the Horus cards could get into the Tearlaments. We're going to Wanted Seeker, return back the Subversion to draw a card. Let's add a Max C, which, remember, this deck can very well deck out against Max C. So let's see what happens. We have the King Sark, reborn the I'm SETI, reborn the Happy. King Sark, discard 2, send from the deck the Dumatef. Dumatef is now here. As we now make our Zombie Vampire, which unfortunately there is a Flash Fire to stop it. We're going to tip grab a Freezing Curses in addition to the Flash Fire. I guess we're allowing it to activate? No, we're not. We're going to Flash Fire it first, get poppin', wipe it out. We still have plays. I'm SETI is going to trigger to send a card in the field to the graveyard. Curses will negate. Now, you would think we're done. We have only just begun, as we now have Original Sinful into Snake Eye Ash. Summon from the deck. Snake Eye Ash. Curse is already activated. We do have Nibiru, though. Poplar trigger, come forth and summon. 19 cards left in our deck. Poplar add from the deck the return back in deck Subversion, which was randomly banished off of a runic tip. We now make our Link Kiribo. Alpha that Poplar trigger, equip itself into the back row. Nibiru tributing off the entire field. Do you have more gas after that? We disrupted Yubel. We tried to disrupt the Horus. You're now summoning a Diablo Star, and we have successfully disrupted Snake Eye. Snake Eye, Horus, and the Yubel has been thwarted. We had enough to stop them. I cannot believe it. Now, we're going to be banishing from the graveyard our probably 1 of Little Knights to return back in the extra deck. We're now going to Flash Fire, get poppin', 37 cards left in the deck. Very likely not going to be anywhere near close to decking them out, making a Chang Ying. If a card gets banished, we're going to then banish a card in the field and in the graveyard. We're going to further banish off of the field from the grave. Goodbye to the Poplar and the Original Sinful. Discarding 5 cards from the hand in the end phase because we have way too many cards in our hand. Would it have been better to just set them on the field? Well, then we wouldn't have them in the grave to return them back through the field spell to then draw 3. King Sark is here. Slumber gets slumbering. We're going to banish 3 cards off the top of the deck and trigger the field spell to draw 3. We randomly banish the opponent's Necroface, then banish 5 cards off of both players' decks. Now, Necroface, don't scoff at this card. It's semi-limited for a very good reason. It's super broken, which could banish another Necroface to then banish another 5 cards off the top of the deck. We're looking at potentially the Runic player possibly decking out themselves. Daradurn's definitely not going to be activating Max C. Banish 5. We did not banish another Necroface. We're going to trigger the Regain, return back the Libellion, draw a card, end our turn. That's all Scar had. And we still don't have our battle phase, so we're going to give Scar another turn of plays. Let's grab off of the tip. The Destruction can destroy a King Sark, though. And then the Chang Ying could also trigger to banish the King Sark if there were still something on the field after that. We have a Sharon. Sharon's going to be discarding the I'm Seti Mill 3, triggering the Hobness here as the Regained, reborns the Dissipator, and the Grand Granule also gets triggering. So on this new summon, we're going to have Kick Cow trigger, and then we're going to have the Chang Ying trigger. The Lulu Walla Lilith will be on the higher chain link to negate the Kick Cows because it's being summoned now while it's on the field. So you will simply be negated. We have the Regained also triggering. The Chang Ying, we do not want to be triggering unless we were to have triggered it before the Lulu Walla Lilith, which we should have done, I believe so. We activate Chang Ying, then Walla Lilith on the higher chain link to negate, and then banish it. But it really does not matter. Negate, 6,600 attack Chang Ying. Ain't no way. I love this deck. It's great. Daradurn, I want to know from you. If White Forest comes out, are you switching to White Forest? You're going to ditch this? It's just straight up better? What's going on there? Max C in the draw phase. We have no other real disruption besides the Druiswarm here. Are we going to regret this? Is this going to be a full-fledged Max C challenge as we deck out 35 cards from the deck? What's important against Runic is most of their disruption are the Runic cards which require a Runic Fountain. So this is not like the previous Duel where we Max C while we have all these Runic cards activatable to negate and destroy and get poppin', mate. This is much different, as we are now going into the Yubel engine, adding the Grave Squirmer. Let's trigger the Spirit, summon a Yubel. We now have the Nibiru into a Linkuriboh. Are we summoning a Phantom of Yubel? Not yet. Banish, Reborn, further linking this up into Anima. Now we are going to Nibiru the field, tribute off everything. Follow up King Sark, return 2 from the grave back to summon the Phantom of Yubel, pop from the deck a Spirit to summon a Yubel from the deck, 27 special summons left. King Sark, discard Mudora to send from the deck a Happy, reborn the Happy, link this off into a Cross Sheep. We're going to then Xyz into a Zombie Vampire, trigger the effect of Cross Sheep, not yet, mill 4 cards from both players' deck, reborn one of them to where the Cross Sheep's pointing to. That will now trigger to reborn as the Tier Cash mills an additional 2 cards in the graveyard. We have Dumatef on the field. We now have card destruction in our hand, and just like that, your Nibiru killed you. How could Nibiru kill you? The Thrust can only search the card destruction if you have a monster on the field. Okay, I don't Nibiru. Well, you would probably then summon a Bestial. If you summon Bestial, the Bestial then kills you because we could thrust the card destruction from the deck to our hand. Learn from this. Do not Max C me. Well, under certain circumstances you can, but there you go. Do not Max C. Wow. Let's keep on going. Now, Scar, of course, not having any hand traps in that opening hand. As we are hard, so are you gonna Max C this? I mean, you do have Fountain, as I keep on saying, so it will be better than the other game. I'd love to see it. I would love to see it. If you Max C, we'll get flaming. Are we gonna do it? King Sark, first summon, then Max C. Sharon, we're afraid to Max C. I am not. Now, it does not mean we're not going to Max C. We could wait for 20 special summons, then Max C. If we feel comfortable enough where that we will not deck out, then it could be okay to Max C. Just wait about 10 special summons, and then you're fine. Is it now fine? It may be still not fine. Just wait a few more. Maybe 5 more special summons is when we'll do it. Poplar Trigger, come forth and summon. Very well. We got our Bystials, we got our Nibiru. We feel quite well protected. We don't feel like Scar could actually lethal us here. Linkuriboh, Poplar Trigger, equip itself into the back row. Nibiru, the field. I do not think so. Tribute, it's all up. Now, can we further cook from here? Of course we can. Reborn 2 level 8s to make our zombie vampire. Are we going to chain Maxi now? No, we are not. We're going to reborn off of the mill. Now we're feeling safe to Maxi. Now it's fine. Was it fine? We have 30 cards left in our deck. To battle we go. Send the Nibiru to the graveyard. Open field. Not enough for lethal damage though. As we now main phase 2, do we continue the cook as we Little Knight on summon, banish a field spell? Goodbye. Get that Runic Fountain out of here, and we're done. Bystial Serenir, also banishing the Fairy Tale Snow here. We're not going to even chain the Fairy Tale Snow because maybe we're assuming they probably have another Bystial. As we now flash fire off the top of the deck. To return the Runic Fountain back as it's limited to 1, we need to make a Dissipator. Dissipator's here. Now, the opponent has to activate something for us to Dissipator. Well, it just did. So we're going to return back the Fountain to destroy the Little Knight. Knowing that Dissipator can destroy the Little Knight, we made sure Little Knight to not target herself on the banishment, where otherwise if you target yourself and the Dissipator destroys you, you now do not banish the Serenir. So very well done on that, a small little detail. As we get to successfully get rid of that Serenir, Dissipator is going to steal the I'm Seti, or I'm Seti is mine, as we reborn from the graveyard our Lubellion. Lubellion is going to be setting up into the back row our Regain, Flashfire, summoning our Huggin as we then make a Little Knight on summon, banishing the King Sark. End our turn, 2800 def. Well, we can't attack anyway because we've been using Bystial cards. Let's go, let's go. It's time for Phantom of Yubel, which could turn off the Little Knights or the Dissipator. We have Keldo. Keldo spinning back that Dissipator back into the extra deck so it cannot be reborn through the effect of the Regained. We're going to Little Knight attempt to banish itself plus the Phantom of Yubel. How about instead, you are going to destroy a Yubel from my deck. Spirit of Yubel, trigger to then summon a Yubel onto the field. Too bad for the Regained. Now, because we didn't banish one of the targets, the other card also does not get banished, which, had we been able to banish the Regained, could return the banished card if it's a light or dark. Reborning from the graveyard. I'm Seti, Happy, and Dumatef. 13,000 damage on the field. What the hell is this? Scar is advancing to the grand freaking finale. Dowerdern, you are close, my friend. Unfortunately, your turn 1 this game was just way too weak. To no fault of your own, your opening hand was 2 Bystial, Nibiru, Maxi, and a Runic Tip. Let's go, let's go. Wanted Seeker, add a Diablo Star from the deck. As we then discard our Extinguish, which we could recycle back with our Emergency. Diablo Star is going to get impermed. Now, enemy controller could dodge an impermanence if there were a body on the field to take control of. Tribute, take. We could follow up with our Airlifter. Airlift off into the Emergency. Emergency summon our Turbulence, sending the Lifter, set up to 4 cards from the deck into our back row here. Without a Hydrant, we can't activate any of them. As I said, Emergency is going to be recycling the Extinguish, and just like that, we have how many disruptions? We have 3. We can flip face down, we can negate a monster, and we can destroy. Let's go. A big problem with Rescue Ace against Vanquish, not Vanquish, but Voiceless Voice, is the barrier. The barrier protecting your monsters from being targeted by card effects. Well, most of Rescue Ace is targeting Disruption. Now, to set up the barrier, we do have to, on the way, get out our Skull Guardian and the Low in the field, which may prove to be quite difficult, as they will be trying to disrupt us from setting that up. We're going to add the Airlifter from Engrave back to our hand. Sure. We now have Sarvis, which could protect us from targeting. Emergency summon from the deck our Preventer. As we now grab a Prayer, the from in hand was sent to the graveyard as we added the Lifter for that reason, so we could summon the Preventer to now flip face down as part of the 3 disruptions I've been talking about. And now we have Skull Guardian. This is when we want to start get disrupting. Before that low comes out, When the low comes out, we cannot target. So Preventer, flip you down. Sarvis, negate the flip. Okay? Extinguish, destroy. But if there's a prayer of the voiceless, which there is in the graveyard, the prayer states that if your ritual leaves the field by card effect, you could then banish this to then summon a Skull Guardian from your deck back in the field, thus giving you that targeting protection that you wanted. Uh-oh. I think Rescue Ace is in trouble. Low come back, trigger the prayer. Low will also be triggering here, which we probably want to contain it before we're not going to be able to negate it. There we go. Contain, negate, Sarvis, negate. Double negate Sarvis. It's not a hard once per turn. Absolutely insane. As we now summon a fresh Skull Guardian from the deck, setting up a Radiance into the back row, which could pop up to, probably just 1 to 2, maybe 2. It will be just 1 here if we wanted to pop. Instead, we're going to summon from the deck a Saphira, and we are going to start battling. Let's start cleaning up this field. Diablo Star in the damage step is going to be reborning herself back onto the field. Skull Guardian within the damage step can negate the activation of a card, thus it is activatable to negate and destroy that Diablo Star. Let's keep on going. Goodbye to the Turbulence within main phase 2. Let's set up that Link Kiribo for the Shokaning into Dynamundo. Dynamundo on summon's going to return a ritual card in the graveyard back in the deck to then send that Preventer back into the deck, which Preventer would have triggered if sent to the grave to reborn a Banished Rescue Ace. And we are still cooking up an Anna freaking Conda. We're going to send a Brain Infusion and come forth and summon a Sancta... What? Mirror Jade instead. Okay. Mirror Jade is here as we rescue from the grave our Airlifter on summon. It will activate to search our deck or in emergency. Now we're going to non-target monster banish that. If we have a card in our hand, we could reborn with the Rinbrum onto the Albas and then fuse the opposing player's field. Dynamundo is going to be reborning the Skull Guardian, which will trigger the low to reborn from the grave as it now sets up a Blessing. Now, Emergency is going to recycle and extinguish from the graveyard back onto the field. It is activatable if we have a Hydrant, which we do not. We're going to chain Sarvis to the Emergency to summon a Sarvis Ritual, which will negate an inherent special summon. What's an inherent special summon? The Preventer from the hand is not negatable. The Diablo Star from the hand is negatable. A Link summon, negatable. A Fusion summon, unless it's a Contact Fusion, is not negatable. We are going to Preventer send. This is not negatable. Come forth and summon Airlifter. Lift off into the Rescue Ace HQ. With the Rescue Ace, we're going to get popped for 2. We're going to enemy controller. Take control of your Mirror Jade. We're going to Rinbrum, banish from the grave, reborn the Albaz to fuse with the stolen Mirror Jade potentially. Maybe. I would love to see this. Are we doing it? Activate the Albaz, discard the Sarvis, which returned back to the hand to summon the Sarvis Ritual, making a Titan-Clad. Titan-Clad unaffected from extra deck monsters. This will negate and banish, as I said. It's an inherent special summon. And we ended. Now, if Diablo Star summons during the opponent's turn, that would not be negatable by the Sarvis because it is a different type of special summon. We're going to send from the deck the Prayers of the Voiceless through the effect of the Saphira to search. We're going to be banishing with Saphira, tribute from the hand to summon from the hand, the Odd Eyes Pendulum Graph for over 10,000 damage, taking this into Game 2. No Jaugen. No Jaugen to win. Good. Respectable. All right. Interesting. I don't think we have any real inherent synergy with the Heavy Storm destroying our own cards. It's probably just an extra copy of the Harpy Feather Duster is what I would be thinking. Holding on to the Maxi. When are we using the... If we use it now, we're still playing into a Gamma, which I guess that's not what we actually cared about. We just didn't know that the Diablo Star was going to be coming, but we searched it. So like this actually kind of does not make sense to me. Yeah. We should have maxied on adding the Diablo Star if we were going to be activating it on an open field anyway. Otherwise, we activate it before the original Sinful activates. We have the Triple Tactics talent, taking a gainer at that hand, get rid of that impermanence. Now, of course, you send the card back on resolution. You don't get to then activate the imperm after choosing it to return back. We now have our Turbulence to set up our 4 back row cards, which results in triple disruption. A pop, a negate, a flip face down mate. Let's get banishing, returning back the original Sinful to grab an emergency. Can we play through triple disruption? Surely we can, as we super poly up that field, fusing into a Garura. Okay. Barrier of the Voiceless, we're going to emergency summon from the deck to then send the Impulse. Come forth, Hydrant, send Impulse. As we are now going to be using the barrier to grab the low. With the pre-prep, we're going to search for 2 cards from the deck, our Ritual Spell and Ritual Monster, Skull Guardian. We're going to be activating the Prayers of the Voiceless, tributing off the low to come forth and summon Skull Guardian with our Omni Negate as once the low hits the field. So we have to use something now. We have to contain it. We have to extinguish it. What are we doing? First, we're going to rescue. Stealing the low from the opposing player's graveyard because we control a Hydrant. And we're going to continue from searching for another low. Your low is mine, and you will not be searching one to then normal from the hand. Contained. You now cannot be attacking. You also can't be used for the extra deck, but you could be tribute summoned. We're going to be using the Garura to draw a card here. That was very well done from YD Fox. Off the top of the deck, Maxi, ain't no way. We're going to extinguish that Trias. It is not activatable the rest of this turn, and we're just going to get the hail out of here as we hop into game number 3. Let's do it. Begin. Is it Jaugen time? We do not have to worry about the Maxi since we do have a finger for it. We're going to pre-prep, search our deck for a Ritual Spell and the Sarvis. Activate our Ritual Spell, chaining the Maxi. Not fingering the C, holding the C. So we're going to search for low, summon low, end our turn under Maxi, and use the Call by the Grave on something else instead. Voiceless Voice plays well under Maxi if they don't open up Diviner. Nicely done. We got a finger, but, not really a disruption. We have Imperm, pop card, negate a card, triple disruption. Let's go. Can't target any monster on the field that's light. Imperm, negate the Poplar. You would Econ take to dodge it, but there's nothing to Econ take. Negate. 2 disruption left. Can't triple tactics talent. We got Link Karibo. Sure. Now, if we used up our normal summon and we have 2 Poplars in our hand, we can't bonfire a 3rd Poplar because who the heck plays 3 Poplar? Damn, we say. Radiance pop the Econ within the end phase. We still had our Omni Negate. Let's go, mate. We're going to be returning from the graveyard back to summon our newly drawn Sarvis non-ritual, Saphira. Send that Ritual Spell we return back into the graveyard it goes. We're now going to barrier search our deck for a low. With the low, we're going to get low, setting up the Blessing to then recycle back the Radiance in grave. We are going to be tributing off the low to come forth and summon our Odd Eyes Pendulum Graph Dragon. This does have the ability to negate a spell. Recycling back that Radiance, as I said. To battle we go. Deuce, chain to the reduce, summon a Sarvis Ritual from the deck, which should be, or another Skull Guardian for over 10,000 damage. Lethal damage. We have Voiceless Voice entering the grand finale versus a full gas Necroface, Horus, Yubel, Snake Eye Fire King, 60-card deck that will surely deck you out if you max C them. Let's go. Let's go. The top 2 are 2 decks that are not really affected as much by a max C. 1 first turn killing you, 1 enough being able to just make plays under that max C to the point where they don't even use their Call by the Grave Finger. They save it for something else better. Begin. Anaconda, send Branded Fusion, send from the deck a Jaugen, come forth and summon Albion the Sanctifier Dragon, which is completely untargetable, and cannot be used for fusion. So if you had Super Poly, you can't fuse with it before it activates to summon a Jowgen. And we'll talk about the situation with Jowgen. We're now going to Maxi in the draw phase, activate the Sanctifier. We're going to give the opponent a Maxi and give ourselves Jowgen. So let's say we had a way to out the Skull Guardian from negating our evenly match. It's obviously not activatable. How can we activate it if we have a max frequency on our field? We can't target the Jowgen because of the barrier protecting all light monsters from being targeted, and we can't attack into Jowgen because the barrier is making it so we have to attack into the Skull Guardian. Is this a checkmate? Begin. Instant scoop. We have the field spell grabbing the Hobness. We can't special summon. We're going to set Necroface and a Black Goat Laughs. If we declare a monster with the Black Goat Laughs, that monster cannot be special summoned. We're going to add a low from the deck with the barrier, low on summon, setting up the Radiance to battle. We go. The Jowgen's preventing both players from being able to special summon. Smack him good, 4,100 to the face, add another 50, why not? And let's see what else we could do. Can't special, can't special, can't special. Yeah, okay. Lethal damage. Floodgates are great. Maybe the ban list will have Sanctifier or Jowgen on it. Probably not because of Voiceless. This is not that popular. I would think that Ibly would be on the ban list before Jowgen. Let's get to it. We're going to use our Jet Synchron, link off into a Link Haribo, discard a card from the hand, get that Necroface in the grave, to then further link this up into our Little Knight. Little Knight could banish the Necroface to then banish 5 cards off of both players' decks. Let's freaking go. Get Necrofacing. Necroface again. Back-to-back Necroface. The opponent lost just 1 low. 2 more lows to go. And off the top of their deck, they lost a Skull Guardian Diviner. They generally only play 1 Sarvis, so that 1 Sarvis at the moment is now gone. But the Blessing, if we have a Blessing, could add it back. Not a really good turn 1, to be honest. We do have Droplet. The Little Knight was another Foreign Disruption, which just got negated by the Impermanence. We're now going to Barrier Search for the low on summon. Going to get Forbidden Dropleted. Now, the Trias cannot dodge it because we sent a monster for the cost of the Droplet, thus we can't chain a monster effect. As we now use Trias to tribute off the low to summon a big enough monster to wipe out that Little Knight. Both players, their plays are not that great, quite simplified here. Now the Radiance could summon a Skull Guardian onto the field, which could then trigger the low to summon itself onto the field to then trigger to set up a Blessing. Or we could grab a Saphira instead, sure. No, actually, I'm incorrect. The trap does not summon the Skull Guardian. The trap would have to summon a Sarvis, which the Sarvis is banished. So we actually cannot do that. And it's the Sarvis non-ritual. The Sarvis is the one that could cheat out a ritual from the deck, not the Radiance trap. Now, follow-up Blessing. With the Blessing, we're going to be activating our Saphira, send from the deck a ritual spell to grab a Sarvis ritual monster. Blessing, return back our banished Skull Guardian to our hand, as we now use the barrier to search for our low to get low with, as we Saphira banish from the graveyard, tribute from the hand, our low to come forth and summon a Skull Guardian. Now Scar usually has a Keldo or Mudora in the graveyard. Not there at the moment, as we come forth and summon our low from the grave back in the field as the Skull Guardian searches for another Skull Guardian. We are going to now be tributing off the Nibiru for a Skull Guardian, double Skull Guardian, and we don't have 7 cards to banish for the Fairy Tale Snow to block the final second lethal attack, double 4,100 for game. 2-0 victory, the full gas deck. What did I say the main counter to the deck was? Well, going first and bricking, and that's exactly what we did. We have so much gas, but with so many cards at 60 cards, we do have that unfortunate chance to brick. And while we didn't brick the entire tournament, we waited for the grand finale for that brick after we got floodgated on game freaking 1. And just like that, Voiceless is your victor. Let's go. Top deck list of the Meta Weekly: Fire King, Snake Eye at the top, Centurion, Yubel. Afterward, let's check out all the rogue decks here. We're going to look at Ancient freaking Gear. Frost Dracony, very well done here. 40 cards, looking clean. I love it. Well built. We got our Kaijus through the Santa Claus. And what else is looking good? The whole deck. Let's keep on going. Branded, a flying dino with branded 60 card. Wham bam, thank you, man. We got Chaos Nephthys in the main deck, of course. Let's zoom out so you can see the full deck there. There you go. And let's now zoom in on the extra deck. Good job of flying dino. Always happy to see some branded. Umi Control, the Pacifist Rat, doing very well with this Umi deck, getting top 8 last week, getting top 16 this week. And the Pacifist Rat said, you know, that we're going to be seeing some more Umi Control. I hope so. I want to see it. So good job on this. Is the deck built the same as last week? That's the big question here. So, wait, in your free time you play Exodia for fun? What? Wait, hold on. You got top 8, then you play Exodia in the Duelist Cup, and then you're back with Umi Control? Okay, it does look like the deck is different. You know, someone else with a better eye than me could see the differences here, I'm sure. Yeah, there's something different, and you all tell me. It looks like we added Super Poly. Super Poly has just been added in. All right, nicely done. Thank you. Let's keep on going. Warrior Combo, FM Productions. Is this actually, should we call this Infernoble or Warrior Combo? You tell me. Holy freaking moly. Look how zoomed out I gotta go. Let's actually, for a better view of your deck, let's highlight it here. The whole deck, just like that. There you go. As a better view of that, 60 cards looking absolutely insane. Tier limit with this madness. Summon Charles and you win. So definitely an Infernoble enthusiast. Now switching over to different kind of builds. Nicely done. As what else do we have here? Yubel. Vodka for free. 40 card vodka. Yup. We got the Boral Sword Dragon. Chamber is definitely interesting. I would love to know your opinion on why you're playing Chamber. We're also playing Beatrice with the Abyss Actor Super Producer. What this means is we have full Yubel combo with a single Dark Beckoning Beast. This is what I showcased in my original video for the combos. I put it at the end of the video because it would be a rare combo, and that's what Vodka for free was playing, and it does require you to play Unchained Soul of Shiyama. So happy to see this. Thank you. Also playing the Volzar Lars. Get negating with the Lars. Also very cool. Nice. Labyrinth. Alpha. Definitely an alpha deck, my friend. Good job. Don't let anyone say otherwise. We got Skill Drain in the main. That does knock off some alpha points, but that's okay. I blame the game and not the player. If it works, I want you to be using it. What else we have here? Mannadium. Will Up. 42 card Mad Lad. Good job, Will Up. Very well done. Get Mannadium. I think an underrated card overall in Master Duel right now, that it's in the back of people's minds, and that card is Droll and Lockbird for the purpose of negating Max C. Not every deck could play this, but it's worth it to explore this option and think about your own deck. Is there a certain combo step? If after combo step 2, do you no longer need to add cards from your deck to your hand? Well, then you probably should play Droll. So maybe after they draw just 2 to 3 cards, you Droll them, and then you summon 10 more times afterward. What else do we have? Rescue Ace, YD Fox, 47 cards, like a turn 2 Rescue Ace deck. Heavy Storm and not Harpy Feather Duster? Huh? That is something. Okay. Here is that. I'm thinking, are you putting Preventer in your back row with Poplar? Poplar, Equip Preventer, Heavy Storm? I think that's the play. You tell me. Good job, Whitey Fox. What else we have? Bestial Runic. Daradurn, Bestial Runic. Maybe we'll be switching on over to White Forest when that comes out, but otherwise, very well done on this. Good job, Daradurn. And we have Tier Limit. Scar. Oh my gosh, Scar. Scar, I'm gonna go to your deck page for this. Let's, all the engines. Wait, you got second place of the J Cup, where they banned Max C, and you got second place. And then with Max C, even though you're not playing Max C, you're countering Max C. In fact, I don't see any hand traps. Am I out of my mind? Unless you count Hovness as a hand trap and Tier Cash. Otherwise, there's no hand traps here. No traditional ones. So there is the full deck list. I don't know if I could zoom in more for a better view. I guess my face then blocks that. I could show this. There you go. So full 60 card madness. I definitely want to be copying this. All right, let's go. Voiceless Voice, the #1 deck. Jowgen in the main deck. Again, hate the game, not the player. If the floodgate works, then that's Konami's problem, not yours. Don't let anyone put you down for playing it. You should be playing it. Play it. It's good. Very well done. Good job to you, Rentos. And what else we have here? Centurion. 2 of you. Well, one of them is a Super Heavy Samurai Centurion deck. Looking good. This has some good hand trap resilience. And if you get Max Seed, just end on a Baguska. And then we have Haga with a more pure version of Centurion, playing with a lot of Bystials, though. Good job, Haga. And what else we have here? Snake Eye Fire King. Top 8 Asim, 45 cards, looking good. And I'll just toss in my banlist prediction here. I think Kieran's gonna go to 2, Spirit Gates will go to 1, and that will be the next ban list. Kind of something like that. Hopefully a lot of unlimits, like Emergency Teleport though. Nonstop DC, looking good. Nothing too crazy that I see off the top of my head. You know, you have the rank 8 Xyz, not too crazy though. Dapper. 42 cards, got the Curry card, Divine Incarnate. This card was so hyped up going into the release of the ability to search it, and then it just really fell off, but happy to see it. Good job. There's the extra deck, and I think that is the entire event. So very well done. Top 16 decks. Let's take a look at the tier list here. Looking just like this, and remember, this is all community events, not just mine. So thank you very much to everyone that joined, and we are out.